Shalom. Before I begin, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessing salutations to the hopefully elect out there listening and learning. So back in the news with this U.S. debt and not only how it's affecting the American economy, but the world economy as a whole. And this title here of this article, U.S. to announce $2.3 billion in military assistance for Ukraine. And if you've been following what's been going on in Ukraine, it's essentially NATO fighting Russia in a proxy war through Ukraine. But when you look at the official reports, they'll have you believe that it's the Ukrainians that are fighting the Russians. But no, because in Ukraine, as we speak, you have Italian troops, you have French troops, you have British troops, all right? You have German troops in Ukraine fighting the Russians. And it's really apparent that all the reports that have come out on this Ukrainian war, Ukraine is finished, all right? Ukraine doesn't have anything left. This is why America, because this right here serves multiple purposes, you know. America, and NATO for that matter, you know, they have to continue this war effort against Ukraine because Ukraine is a very strategic land, all right? Because when Russia does take back control of Ukraine, because Russia is going to take Ukraine, make no doubt about it. Russia's just buying some time right now. But when Russia does complete the campaign for Ukraine, Europe as a whole is going to suffer, okay? Because why? Europe is pretty much the breadbasket of the world, but especially of those EU and NATO nations. So they have to continue this war because there's resources in Ukraine that are crucial for NATO and the EU. They also have to continue this war even though it's really a facade. I mean, they don't have anything to fight with in Ukraine. All the young men are dead. I mean, right now in Ukraine, they're literally snatching people up, civilians off the streets, and throwing them on the front line. Like, that's how bad it is. Meanwhile, Russia, they're not even using 25% of their fighting force in Ukraine. You see? But like I was saying, Ukraine is a very strategic land, and it's pretty much the buffer between the Russian juggernaut and the weak NATO and the EU nations. You know, they also have biolabs, and you know, they were trying to build nuclear silos in Ukraine that they can hit Russia with, you know what I'm saying? So this war, even though it's really not going anywhere, is crucial for these European nations to continue, because they see that pretty much the end is near in Ukraine. But nonetheless, America, the US, they're going to keep pumping money into this failed campaign, and also because they want to increase the debt in America so that eventually this economy is going to collapse and they can bring in this new beast system. So this right here is more than what it seems to be on a surface level, all right? Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Tuesday that the U.S. will soon announce more than $2.3 billion in military assistance for Ukraine, one of the largest aid packages committed to Ukraine since Russia's 2022 invasion. He says, "I am proud that the U.S. will soon announce more than $2.3 billion in new security assistance for Ukraine. This package under Presidential Drawdown Authority will provide more air defense interceptors, anti-tank weapons, and other critical munitions from U.S. inventories." Austin, during a meeting Tuesday at the Pentagon with Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, says it will also enable the U.S. to procure more Patriot and National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System interceptors, which this is really all BS, because America, NATO, and the EU, they don't have the resources nor the time to build up a significant military to fight in Ukraine. Really, what they're doing right now is, they're just exhausting their reserves. Okay, and make no doubt about it. If NATO really had it like that, they wouldn't be trying to institute a draft. All right, that's how you know that they full of shit. All right, because the U.S. just a few weeks ago passed that a mandatory bill that said all young men and women from ages 18 to 26 are going to be put into that selective service draft. You see, because why? They know that a bigger war, a bigger conflict is coming. And of course, Europe, they don't have the bodies. Their armies are very small. They don't have the equipment because even now, the African nations are kicking the so-called white man out of Africa. So the resources are also drying up. So all this money that they're pumping into this war effort, like I said, it's not going anywhere. It's really all in vain, but they have to make it look good. All right, this is nothing but Esau's pride deceiving him. All right, and I did a lesson, a few lessons ago on Redacted. Clayton Morris had a guest on the show, and he was basically saying that, look, the West is delusional. They're over there talking, all this big talk against Russia and China. Really believing that they can go to war with these nations. Okay, when the morale of the West is through. Nobody want to fight for America. Nobody wants to fight for NATO. All right, you have the youth. They're very the men are effeminate. The women, of course, are not even equipped to fight, so we don't even got to talk about that. But the men, the young men in these nations, they don't have a morale to fight, man. Also because they understand that these wars are unjust. Okay, that's why the scriptures say that the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. And what is that? Jeremiah 51. Yeah, that the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They are become as women. You see, so all what the West is doing, they're just running up the bill, okay, because they're purposely trying to tank the Western economy so they can replace it. That's all that's going on, man. All right, and what better way or justification to do that is to start wars, and say, oh, Russia, they're the boogeyman, China, they're our enemies, and this, that, and the third. When when you look at the totality of the situation, what is the West doing? I mean, listen, America, much less NATO members are divided. Turkey is about to side with the BRICS. See, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the military equipment. You see, really it's so bad that NATO, they're having to get arms from South Korea. Okay, they're having to get arms from South Korea, from Taiwan. Okay, they don't even have the production in their own nations to pump out the necessary equipment to fight a war, much less the manpower. So the West is done, man, but all of what they're doing is really just to save face, but it's really to tank this economy, because they see that, damn, NATO is getting smashed in Ukraine. This war is not going anywhere, but we can't allow the world to know that we're weak. You see, we can't allow the nations to see us just tuck our tail and just bow out of the fight. No, we must continue to fund this war, even though we're not gaining any ground, we're not gaining any momentum. Okay, everybody that we send over there is just dying. Okay, and the other side is taking minimal losses. I mean, if you're in a fight, let's say that you're in a boxing match, right? If you're in a boxing match and you're losing every single round, You ain't getting knocked out yet, but you're losing every single round. Like you throwing jabs, you throwing, hooks, uppercuts, and you're missing every single one. But your opponent is beating the shit out of you. All right, eyes swole up. You got cauliflower ear. You're gassed. You don't have no fight left in you. There's only so much longer that you can fight before the ref just stops the fight, man. And that's where the West is at. Okay, they might have came out swinging, but they ain't hitting nothing. All right, that's where they're at. So it's only a matter of time before all this is over. All right, and best believe here in America, at the next article that we'll get into it, but stuff is about to get shut down here. Okay, because we're about to enter a full-blown war economy. You see, so all these government subsidies and things that people are used to getting, support from the government, the jobs, everything is about to be dried up and put towards the war effort. All right, but this is the madness of America, Babylon the Great. $2.3 billion, man, in military assistance. Where is it going? How many billions of dollars have they put into this war since it's been going on? And this thing has been going on for 2 years, but the war itself was over in the first 6 months. Okay, really now they just sacrificing people. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. Like they just sending people out there to just die. All right, let's get into this here. All right, the U.S. government budget deficits and an escalating debt load pose a growing risk to the global economy, marring an otherwise stellar economic performance. You see that? So the West, all this money that America is spending on these wars, is running up the debt, also with this whole migrant thing, giving these migrants, really just setting them up for free. Okay, giving them brand new cars, free housing. They getting debit cards with thousands of dollars on it. Meanwhile, the average American citizen, they're becoming homeless. They're more destitute than ever, strung out on drugs, losing jobs, losing their homes, having to downsize on their living arrangements. But the migrant, they're coming in here and they're reaping the benefits, squatting in people's houses and stuff like that. Which that's all judgment from the Heavenly Father. But the point is, these elites that run this government, they're running up the debt purposefully. All right, this is all being purposefully done. All right, reading on. The United States over the next several years faces a pressing need to reduce its burden, which that's not going to happen. Okay, all they're going to do is continue to increase the debt, because you have calls right now from the U.S. Congress, from the Senate, from these different political parties to end this war. But no, they're going to continue on. Also, you have the war that's going on in Israel and in Gaza. America is also backing that. So that's also adding to the debt, among many other things. You see, so this debt, it can't be overcome. And I think the figure is what, like the debt increases by $1 trillion every 90 days or something like that. So you can't keep running up the debt and think that your country is going to continue to stand. Nah, man, like it's going to come a point where this thing is going to collapse, right? Which could require broad-based income tax increases and cuts in popular entitlement programs. The fund said at the conclusion of its annual review of the U.S. economy. The required fiscal adjustment will mean, quote, difficult political decisions over the course of multiple years, which, like I just said, they're going to cut Section 8. They're going to cut the SNAP. They're going to cut a lot of benefits. A lot of government jobs are about to be shut down. The police, they're going to be defunded. These are the difficult decisions that they're speaking of, warning that an unchecked rise in debt could eventually sap U.S. growth and snowball into global financial distress. You see, so this is exactly what it's coming to. And like I said, it's all being done purposefully. It's all deliberate because America didn't have to get into that war with Russia. Russia already, I mean, listen, they have documents dating back to the early 90s, the 80s, stating that NATO would not expand an inch towards Russia. But look at what they're trying to do now. Now, NATO is trying to add Ukraine. Slovakia, NATO is trying to add Ukraine as a part of NATO. Okay, which that directly defies the agreement between the old Soviet Union or Russia and what the West had. You see, so America and NATO, they're the aggressor. In Russia, they're simply defending themselves. That's the truth of the whole matter. But the Lord is stirring this thing up for the controversy of World War III and ultimately the battle of Armageddon. That's why these things have gone the way that they've gone, because this is the will of the Lord that's playing out in these last days. It says here, the required, it's like now is a good time, said Kristalina Georgieva, the fund's managing director. The U.S. economy is very strong, and that's a lie. Okay, if this was a strong economy, you would be seeing businesses flourish. You would be seeing people happy. Like, you would be seeing the mirth increase. People wouldn't be on TikTok complaining about the cost of living and how high that everything is. That's not the sign of a good economy. That's a sign of a weak and failing economy. And it is in good times where you can do more to prepare yourself for risks in the future. President Biden has ruled out at least one of the fund's suggested remedies: higher taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. Right? But that aside, the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, statement praised the U.S. economy for a remarkable performance in recent years. BS. Inflation has largely been brought under control without the sharp increase in unemployment that many economists had expected. GDP growth remains above expectations and is expected to continue. You know? So look, this is ultimately coming down to a collapse. Okay? Lawmakers also must decide by the end of 2025 to extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts or allow them to expire, thus increasing taxes on most Americans. In April, as part of a separate review, IMF officials chided the United States for government deficits that stimulated the economy, saying they effectively made it more difficult for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. Yeah, so that soaring U.S. debt, man, it's a great risk to the global economy. See, but this is what these elite devils want. Okay, they want people to be in straits. They want people to be in a position of difficulty. See, because this all adds to that order out of chaos. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up in him, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." It's speaking about Esau, Edom. Okay, the soul which is lifted up in him is not upright, because he knows what's right, but he purposefully does what is adverse, what is wicked. Because, after all, this is the man of sin. Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. And see, even what's happened now, like how I referenced that redacted video, Esau, he's now drunk off of his own wine. Okay, like he actually believes his own BS to the point now where he's trying to make war with nations that are clearly superior over him. Russia, China, the BRICS, you see? They're actively trying to make war with these nations, but it's really the Lord behind Esau, Edom, that's behind these Western nations, because, Russians, they're Edomites too. See, but the Lord has, raised Russia up. The Lord has stirred up the Medes against the whore, against the beast. and they're not going to regard silver nor gold. They're the Lord has put his spirit on them to have their inward desire to be to destroy the West. You know what I'm saying? Because these nations, man, they're tired of this American-led hegemony. This is why they're trying to, well, this is why they are getting around the dollar. This is why they're, constantly putting money into their military so that they can take the West down. See, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And he does that by the way of America, the whole beast system, really. 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that word there for clay, the clay is ibadiat, all right, in the Hebrew, which goes into heavy debt. Okay, so the nations now, they're very aware that what the situation is in the West, especially that of America, that they're in heavy debt, that they're in trillions of dollars worth of debt that nobody wants to buy and that they can't overcome. So now the nations, they've taken up a proverb against the beast, against America, Babylon the Great, saying, woe to him that increases that which is not his. Going up, it says, keep it not at home. So this man is going all around the earth, Esau. He's for the longest time been bullying the nations, taking their resources, taking lands unjustly and by deceit. Rich is gotten by deceit, in fact. You see, but now there's a proverb against this devil, and they're saying, woe to him, destruction to him that increase that which is not his. How long? Right? So how long is this devil going to continue to go on like this? And the answer is not very long, because his end is in sight, and he knows that. Right? And especially now, because his beast system is in an insurmountable amount of debt that they'll never be able to relieve themselves of. Right? But they're going to continue on, because the Lord put his spirit on these devils to continue on this way for his ultimate purpose, okay, which is to bring about the MOTB, which is to bring about the hour of temptation, to bring about this beast system in which everything is going to be on a grid. It's going to be a digital technocracy. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? Right, who? These other nations, the BRICS, and those that are aligned with them. Okay, even their own allies, right? Even America's European allies, they're going to turn on the whore. You see? Because they're also tired, quiet as it's kept. They're also tired of America. They're not really even messing with America like that. NATO, they're over there trying to do their own thing, because they also understand that America's through. So why would you continue to follow a sinking ship? But according to Revelation 17-16, they're gonna turn on America, the whore, and they're gonna side with their enemies and burn this place up with nuclear fire. All right, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Now, what is a booty? A booty is a spoil, right? Booty. Let's go into that real quick. Loot, money, okay? Yeah, so money, you know what I'm saying? So booty going into, spoils of war, okay? Money, that these nations are gonna, take up off America, because thou hast spoiled many nations. You see that? Thou hast spoiled many nations, robbed them, right? All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. See that? So what these Edomites have done, especially in the West, they've gone all around the earth. They've had an evil covetousness, you see, because it was prophesied, Isaac did tell Esau that he would have the fatness of the earth, and that he would get the fatness of the earth by the sword, right? By the sword shalt thou live. You see, but Esau gained his kingdom in wickedness, and guess what? Just like how he spoiled all the nations, all these nations are now coming together and strengthening themselves to come against Babylon the Great, to come against the whore. So now they're going to take a spoil of America once it's all said and done. And these Edomites, they're complaining as well because they used to live high on the hog, and they was able to enjoy the spoils of many nations, but now they're in a position where they're struggling. Like I said, they're now homeless, and they're hopeless, destitute. The future is not looking bright. But that's the judgment of Yahweh Shai that's come down upon them. You see? Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay, this is what's gonna happen to America, man. This place is gonna be like Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, this is gonna be the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right, that's what's gonna happen to this place once the Lord is done with it, man. All right, the beauty and splendor that you see America has right now, in a very short time, that's not gonna exist. That's all gonna be a thing of the past. Okay. Yeah, but Babylon the Great is falling, man. Like, this place is falling fast. See, we can close out on this last article, right here. Okay, because look, even all this money that America been given, funding this Ukraine war and these different wars that they got jumping off, because they're, America about to go up in Taiwan. They got the Israel war going on. They got the Ukraine war. And they're also going to have many skirmishes happening in that Middle East region. It's going to be popping off. Of course, right now they dealing with the Houthis and Hezbollah. So the West got a lot going on. Like, they're fighting many wars. Okay, with 2nd Ezra the 16th chapter says that this is the beginning of wars. So, but Russia, on the other hand, their economy is booming right now, right? Their economy is at an all-time high. Russia's war-driven economy is so hot that the World Bank upgraded it to a high-income country. And this is also boosting the BRICS. This is also boosting up the BRICS nation, and pretty much ever since Saudi Arabia came up off that petrodollar, these nations have been trading in the Russian ruble. This is why now Russia is now a high-income country. So Putin is winning. Okay, Putin is winning, man. And contrast that to what's going on in the West. The American dollar is falling. You see? So this is, even more of a reason as to why the allies of America, they're going to side with the winners. Okay, they're going to side with who they see has the power. All right, which right now is Russia, China, North Korea, the BRICS nations. All right, that's who got all the cards in their hand right now. Okay, the ball is in their court, man. Russia's economy, boosted by military activity, is now classified as high income by the World Bank. Russia's GDP grew 3.6% in 2023, with trade and financial sectors rebounding. The World Bank also upgraded Bulgaria and Palau, while the West Bank and Gaza were downgraded. Russia's economy has defied sanctions in the 2 years since Moscow invaded Ukraine in February 2022. So much so that the World Bank is now classifying Russia as a high-income country. Okay, so like I said, man, Russia is winning, and these, merchants and rich men that live in the West, they're mourning now because the dollar is not what it used to be, and also their quality of life, is also dwindling. I mean, it's not like they're going to be destitute overnight, but there is a very profound shift that's going on with the economics in the West, and especially that of America, because the more nations that start to get away from the USD, the weaker that the dollar is going to become, and the stronger that the BRICS currency is going to become. Okay, this is why in the West it's going to be a new system, because this thing is finished. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have to come in with something else that, number one, they can take more control over the people. Everything's going to be tracked and traced and monitored. All right. And, to them, that's going to be more beneficial than this current system that they got going on right now. But all this was done by design. So we close out here in James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Okay, now, moth-eaten, that signifies decay. Okay, because when a moth consumes the fabric of a clothing, what does it look like? I mean, you can have a shirt, but if a moth gets up in there and starts to eat away at the shirt, now the shirt got holes in it. Now the fabric is thinner than what it used to be. Okay, so that's a sign of degradation and decay. Okay, so the riches are corrupted, the garments are moth-eaten. Okay, so this is a sign that the rich men of Babylon, they're in a state of decay. Okay, while America's enemies, they're growing stronger. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Right? That's echoing that Revelation 17:16. The beast shall hate the whore, and burn her with fire. That's the same language there, right? Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which is Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, right? So, all these rich men that live in the West, and, they was able to, live it up in former years. The economy was booming, jobs was all over the place, food was abundant. You know what I'm saying? Like, just look at the state of American society. I mean, even the food here, it ain't even real food. I mean, you got things labeled as organic, but it's really lab grown. Okay, it's really GMO. You know what I'm saying? People are getting sick. The diet is horrible. You know what I'm saying? Just the air quality is trash. The quality of the water here is trash. Fluoride all up in the water and different chemicals. You know what I'm saying? So America, it's clear to see that this place is on the way out. You know what I'm saying? And the hopefully like of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the Lord is going to keep us and make a way for us through all this. But ultimately, many people are about to be taken by the things that are about to happen on this earth. Okay, also natural disasters with the Hurricane Beryl just touched down out there in I forget what nation it is, but it's in the Caribbean. But they said that very few buildings are left standing, and the entire power grid is pretty much through. Now it's heading towards Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? So hey, the Lord is working. Prophecy is speaking loud and clear, man. So we're in that time where we just got to continue to watch, sound the alarm from that watchtower, and warn our people, whether they hear or forbear, of what's to come. Okay, which is the end of this society. So I'll go ahead and close out here. Come Yashala and a Bible ball. Shalom, on to the next one.